What is going on, guys? DragonTamerBlayde here, back from our Elder Scrolls Legends, and today we're going to take this items Daggerfall list and we're going to beef it up a little bit. I'm going to show you guys some ways to improve it, and as I suggest with all decks that run intelligence, we're going to start with the Ancano's Cunning deck, which you should have already purchased at any point in the game as soon as you can. We're going to toss Ancano right into here, and then we're going to go and do our normal thing where we just go through all of the decks and all of the colors. Start with Corset, and we'll see what fits this deck personally. So something like Plunder, honestly, is not that bad of a card, especially for this deck. Withered Hand Cultist is another amazing one. I would say probably don't really work for Plunder unless you already have it. However, Withered Hand Cultist is a good craft if you are playing an aggro deck. Definitely add this baby into your deck if you have one. For our purpose, we aren't going to quote-unquote craft it. Alakir Survivalist is another one that fits this deck's strategy. But again, we're not going to craft him for our purposes here. Now these cards, again, Ogrim's a pretty good one, as is Markarth Bannerman. They don't fit the deck super well, but they are options. Whirling Duelist is a good card for this deck, especially since we don't really have that many cards in this slot. But for the purpose of this, we will skip them as well. And Belligerent Giant would probably be a decent card as well. But ultimately, we're not going to add any of those to our list at the moment. One card that would be quite good in this deck would be Master of Arms. Either one of these. You don't have to get the alternate art version. But if you have enough items in your discard pile, especially once we upgrade some of the items we'll be running, Master of Arms could be really good. So this would be a very nice addition. And if you purchase, I think it was the Madhouse... hopefully I'll edit that out. But if you purchase the Madhouse Collection... you should pick up Gardener Swords to go along with Master of Arms as well. Heirloom Greatsword, decent, but not quite good enough, I don't think. Out of these cards, nothing else really makes the cut, so we're going to kind of keep it how it is at the moment, because we're trying to stay as budget as possible. You could consider running Shadowfen Priests. I don't think it's that useful here. Sentinel Battle Mace is something that is obviously very good. So for the purpose of our deck, we're going to say that you craft 2 of them. I think you get one for free, so in this case you only have to quote-unquote craft 1. And in order to make room for these 3 cards that we've added so far, we will... Let's cut the 3 copies of High Rock Stalwart. I don't think they're quite good enough, and we'll come back for those. Alright, so legendary cards. Relentless Raider and Reeve both fit really well. If you have either one of those, go ahead and slam those in here. Daggerfall Mage, fantastic for items decks. We're going to say in a world where you have some gems, let's say you crafted 2 Daggerfall Mages. So we're going to go ahead and cut all 3 Craven Conscripts, and we're going to add 2 Daggerfall Mages for now. I think you can get 1 for free, so then we'll say you quote-unquote crafted the 3rd one. Mentor's Ring and Staff of Sparks don't quite fit either. Emmerich would be an amazing card for this type of deck. So let's say hypothetically you got Merrick as well. We're going to try and go more budget going forward, but I wanted to kind of beef this up a little bit. Salvage would be pretty okay. Not stupendous, but decent. Telekinesis could be really good. If we were going to do Telekinesis, you'd probably want to be running more items. But that's probably it out of the Alliance War cards. Otherwise, Lyris is a fantastic addition. So we're going to say, hypothetically, we were able to add 1 Lyris. So we'll cut a Conjuration Scholar for Lyris. I know this is becoming slightly non-budget at this point. But obviously slot in what you have. Emmerich Covenant King could fit as well. And if they do wind up adding the pre-made decks that you could purchase for Alliance War, you can probably find a way to get Emmerich Covenant King for free. So next up, Houses of Morrowind. Let's take a look at the epics for that one. Out of these ones, I would say only Halalu Sharpshooter really fits. We're not going to go crazy for him, though. Telvos Magister could be a really good 6-drop. So let's say in a world where we can cut 2 Conjuration Scholars and add 2 Telvos Magister. Again, if you don't have these cards, obviously you don't have to run every single one of these. These are just some that I would say are quality crafts for this type of deck. Aspect of Racine could work as a finisher. An Amherst Keeper actually not a bad 3-drop because you can generate Heirloom Greatsword. I would say if you could replace something, you could cut like Fighters Guild Berserker in favor of an Amherst Keeper. I think that would work out just fine. But in this case, we're going to say don't craft the legendaries there. And finally, we've got Heroes of Skyrim. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. Nothing really fits here. Ancestor's Battle Axe is interesting, but not quite a fit. Arcane Enchanter, I don't think is quite good enough. We're going to make it out of Skyrim scot-free here. I think we might. Okay, so, otherwise. Now, these are adventure cards, or other things. So, like, this guy is from the Madhouse Collection. If you could get the Madhouse Collection, Gardener of Swords would be a fantastic addition. But it's a little bit expensive just to get the Madhouse Collection off the bat, so we're going to say that you don't add Madhouse Collection to your list yet, but I would put it on your list of things to grab. Candy Crush isn't bad. Sower would be a fantastic card, and honestly, Sower is one of those cards that you should always craft. It's probably the highest, or one of the highest must-craft cards, so we're going to say that you got 3 Sowers, because it is one of the best cards in the game to craft pretty early on. And then additionally, we're not going to add this to the list because it's a little bit expensive to get to, but you could run things like Garnag to top off your opponent's Magicka, since we only have 1 card that goes above 7. Underworld Vigilante can be a good way to push extra damage in the mid to late game. Corsair Ship could be a fantastic addition for this deck. Putting items on everything is really, really good. And there's one card I actually forgot to mention. It's from the core set. It is an epic. Dragonstar Rider could fit decently in this deck as a way to draw extra cards. If you could do it, I would say maybe drop something like Royal Sage and add Dragonstar Rider, just as a way to get some extra cards in there. Yeah, Royal Sage would probably be a perfectly fine thing to drop in favor of Dragonstar Rider. But in this case, we're going to keep the deck how it is, just to try and keep it more budget. And we did add a fair amount of Soul Gems to the deck. 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, guys, let's get a game with this deck. Probably only going to play 1 since we played 3 yesterday. And the deck's not going to look all too different with just a handful of upgrades and a 75-card list. But maybe we'll draw 1 or 2 of them, and maybe they could do some work. Maybe we'll just play Burn Assassin and we'll just be a bystander in this game. Either one of those things are possible. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what cards we pick because they're not worrying about us. They don't care that we exist. Unless this is one of the rare cases where this isn't Burn Assassin. This guy's not looking to play against us at all.
Business, shall we?
I'm just going for creatures and getting stuff on the board. That's the only goal here. We have to try and rush him down. Because he's more than likely just going to be trying to win the game in a couple turns. You can't hit this with an action. It's not how that works. Okay.
Time to take matters into my own hands.
This day is mine.
Now he'll use that firebolt he was trying to target the Ebon Thread Cloak with on this Camelorn hero.
Have business with House Halalu.
Fair enough. I gain nothing of value from that, so we'll just miss encumbrance.
Time to take matters into my own hands.
We know that the only thing he really can do to mess with this is... I don't even think Burn Assassin runs Lightning Bolt, actually. Alright. Early Hail Mary. That's a 0 cost out of the way, though. It's going to give me a curse, which means he probably kept something like... Oh. This could potentially just win the game. But having to take off a turn against this deck is not good. If he tries to just play the Hex Mage and hide it, we have to double negation. Or single negation and just hope to trade with it.
They'll never outsmart me.
really the right time to do that. He might have another one that doesn't matter. Which is possible.
Would you like a bow that shoots rainbows too?
There's a lot of weird stuff happening this round. That's 2 fire blooms we've seen though, and I don't think the deck runs more than that.
I'll fight to my
I'll actually
last
take that
breath.
bet that he doesn't have fire bloom number 3 in his top 18. We're almost at the point where we can play negation and Tel'Vos together, which will give us
Hands
another
off
layer of
my
protection
way.
against his combo. Not a huge layer of protection,
They'll
it'll only
never
block the first ping.
outsmart me.
Are you going in now? Guess having all 3 forked bolts helps. Okay. What just happened? Okay. That didn't really work out correctly.
My sword hand itches. Glory will be ours.
That was weird. I guess I silenced the debilitate.
Nice try. Care to go again?
I thought he just played a zero-cost gamer before he played a skamer. I was very confused.
Reigns over bread. I am defeated. This is yours now.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Do your worst.
Find you in the next world.
Perhaps we can help one another.
Ominous insects. They dare
Time to
face
take
me?
matters into my own Oblivion hands.
awaits you.
I'm not going to give him an extra card. He's only got 1 Hex Mage left in the entire deck. And he's still in the top half of his deck, so having drawn all 3 is not likely. Sower's not as good in this deck, because this guy just has a ton of different ways to deal with us. What do we have on the board?
Do you not fear me, mortal?
I gladly give my life to keep Daggerfall safe.
Buff up the bounties.
Your time has come.
Time to take matters into my own
Oblivion
hands.
awaits you.
Alright, let's see if he can kill us this turn.
Have business with House Halalu.
He'll draw 2 cards. He can no longer play a Hex Mage, so his only hope is Market. There's a Market. Can he deal 6? That won't set up the Empower quite yet, because he didn't actually deal damage. That's 2 damage. 3. So if I bring this down
Oblivion
to
awaits
12,
you.
I can play +6, +7, 8, +9 to bring them to 13.
Oblivion awaits you.
Let's skip the last 2 rounds. Alright, so the Hex Mage usage there, I guess, was a little bit questionable. I think our opponent definitely had us beat if they didn't use their Hex Mage so liberally. But at the same time, they still almost won, even with what I think wasn't the best Hex Mage usage. They still almost kicked their ass, which is how strong the deck is out of nowhere. You know, sometimes you can like not set it up correctly and still do really, really well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back with some more budget decks soon, and we'll see you guys then. Peace.